Hello everyone, this is Ali Merch, and we continue evaluating brand and design of architecture field series. And we did the previous video, check that out. It's interesting. We addressed 5 architecture firms, and here we are doing another video with 5 other ones. And here I'm starting with one of those projects. And again, it took time a little bit to find good website, and we're evaluating here based on the website, but we're evaluating free fields that I'm holding, and I'm working in those fields for 8 years, which is brand, identity, interface design, and web development. And I'm choosing some products that are worth of attention from my expertise and understanding and value system. At the same time, I must say that I was an architect myself back in times, 4 years in practice, and even though we're not evaluating architecture, it does serve me well as the user experiences interface designer, branding identity specialist, and so on. But at the same time, it gives into my work some sort of structure and architecture sense. So I like to evaluate something that I'm familiar with back in from back of my times. Anyways, let's jump right away. So we see here is another unique way. So I like every project we observed with you, and those 5 that we did check the previous video. It's interesting to check them out. We experience interesting presentation. Now here what we see actually is a static footage video. You can see the grass is moving all the time. It's in a loop. And here we'll be actually experiencing with you through the website, a little bit not knowing everything as I should be. So what I like this effect, it's right away in the face. It's a static footage that we haven't experienced yet, and I have this architecture building in the background. Right away speaks that this is architecture. Of course, they didn't say architecture anywhere. They just say their name, Fearon Hay, or whatever that is. Already addressed with you that this is not necessarily a good idea to call your architecture firm with a name and surname or whatever it is. We pointed that out in a previous video, so I will not be repeating about the same thing. But I like this. So we can see easily the title, the menu. It's straightforward, minimalistic, and speaks and actually have their signature of just static footage that is effective. What we can do here, actually, we can click, I believe, anywhere. Yes, I'm going to fade in into the projects. And I like the quick fade in, unlike too slow to wait. Let's see what's going to happen if I'll close it. I'm closing it and we're going back. I feel this is really unique. You come back to this, it's pleasant to be on this. You can even use this as the homepage of your browser if you are actually owning this company. It's pleasant. I understand why. So actually we can click anywhere here. It doesn't really matter, I think. Yes, menu, not menu, everywhere. It's going to take us to this collection of projects. I like this idea of 2 columns. So we scroll, we have the menu always following us as 1/3 and 2/3 of two-third of the projects to choose from of 2 columns. Now, I must say this is good and unique approach we haven't seen yet. It's showing the whole project as a representative photo and the name of the project. That's as simple as this. And menu is always on the left. I like it. The thing is also this closing icon, nevertheless, I must point out space for improvement, is that it's always white and we can lose it when we go over the white zone. So I can't really find it. I think it could be right thing to keep that cross on the left side with a menu somewhere, or close, maybe just close indicator, or return home, call it home, to simplify things. I think this is confusing a little bit and not really demonstrating professional degree, but it's a small thing, nevertheless, really well done, clever approach, unique way of presenting themselves. They up to date, their architecture and photography is well positioned. The naming is pretty clear. We can see that they're not really totally overwhelming you with projects, but they have a lot of things to explore. And that's good also. They do have interesting way of presenting the filtering system. So actually we can hear, this is the work. This is like all of that. If we go to residential, going to fade away, fade in. It's quick fade in, fade out, and zoom in and zoom from bottom to top. That is what you want to achieve. You don't want to bore your customers to wait until the fade in effect will appear. So this is well done. You can see that we are in the residential. We can go commercial, and it's really good filtering, I think. This is unique filtering and acceptable. And also they have search. So actually you can type anything, name, materials, or location. They respected that. It's great. Let's type warehouse. Warehouse. It even shows what you can select. That's quite unique. There you go. are you going to zoom in into that one? It's not going to really show this thing, going to find what you want. I think it's better if you type, and actually it's filters. So they don't really have that filtering searching system that I would recommend. So I would recommend, if I'm typing warehouse, I would like to witness that we will see only project right away in live to see only warehouses. So I think there's still space to improve for the searching system. Nevertheless, they have this well done, a unique way. We can contact them, but before going to do that, also right away into the Instagram and contact anytime you want. But contact, if you click, what's going to happen? They're going to take us here. And that's it. That's straightforward. You can contact them. I notice sometimes the witness on the website that images might load too slow in some places, and just because there's high quality imagery, and they could actually minimize on that from the coding perspective, but it's not that bad. Now let's enter one of the projects here. Let's go to this one, for example, Coastal House. And when we enter again, fade in, fade out, this is good effect. And what is beautiful here is just it takes the full, I don't know why it scrolled down, and honestly, I would like to stay on this one. So once we enter, I appreciate always, as I mentioned in the previous video, that we're experiencing the full photography, full visual view. That's what we want in the real project that they did. It's immersive, it's compelling, it's already impactful, and we want to contact them right away. We have experience right away. That's the great thing they do. Again, as I mentioned before, I don't want to repeat too often, but again, the common mistake is that we cannot predict what is behind of the text. So this is white text on white clouds, and it can be not professionally looking and doesn't really respect. So make it negative or create some kind of menu on top so it always will have predictable background. That's the only thing to improve. The rest is really impressive. We scroll through amazing work. I'm not evaluating architecture, but it's well done. And you can see here, though, they do it reverse into the black and black. And here it turns from black and white, but it's not predicted in photography. So we'll go further, and here again, black on black. So keep an eye right on that. And I see beautiful photography. There's still space to improve in respect to hierarchy. I remember we pointed out in the previous video of one of their evaluated architecture firm, that they also have a space to improve in respect to organization, hierarchy, arrangement of the photography presentation. But it might be a deliberate decision, but there's a point beyond which it feels like it's not minimalistic. It feels like it's not really well done. So be careful not to cross that point. And I believe they crossed a little bit that point. There's space for them to improve in user experience, in hierarchy of order. As I mentioned before, you should extend your expertise of architecture and structure that they have and they serve in their service. They should demonstrate that through their digital touch points like websites to continue that professional trustworthy degree. Nevertheless, again, imagery full screen is a big deal. That is why they win. That is why they impress. It's immersive. It's amazing. Well done. Good photography, good footage. That's the important thing. It's always there. So they did a good job. I like it. Amazing. And right away, they take us to another collection of projects. If we go back to the whole list, and yes, you don't get yourself lost. That's really good. And we can always close and come back to the, interesting. I actually clicked cross, but we entered the project. That was unexpected. So actually, this is not really functional, clearly. That's unfortunate. So that's why another reason why you should keep that cross away, but it should be clickable over this element. It should be away from here. So actually I was trying to close it and I got myself into the project. So I guess I will click the title and it'll take us where I want it to be taken to. Guys, that's the first architecture that we have evaluated, and let's continue to the next one right now. So the next one is also quite interesting. Now here we're also seeing some kind of different approach. Here we see video on a loop this time, not static, but actually dynamic. And we haven't seen that yet in examples that we have addressed in a previous video in here. So it is immersive. It's a slow motion dynamic showing the architecture that they build and some kind of dynamic of motion of light and shadow and perspective on top. There's also some kind of street dynamic of life. It's an interesting, unique way of positioning themselves. I also like that they bold and big in titles. It's also modern touch. So actually when I hover over places, it gives this pastel black charcoal color in the background, and homes gives this caramel flavor, actually more like a bone color. So that is interesting. Now this is unique also. And what else we can we care for country. It's interesting. We'll not be clicking that, but it's something to explore. Let's go to the menu again. A beautiful color selection. They actually winning on brand identity. They are a little bit actually kind of under the question for me to be a little bit creative agency, so to say, but it's unique, it's modern, it's a great approach. Homes and places, interesting. That's the title of the brand. They don't have really icon or logo, and okay, it doesn't really make them to stand out, as we pointed out. It's okay. They don't say anywhere that they do architecture. And if we go to the menu, it's beautiful menu, unique. We haven't seen that yet, and it reveals well. And they have links, they have contacts and location, home, places, profile, and career. They have more options to go with if you go to the full menu. Now we'll go to the homes. Let's try homes and places. I guess that's the categorization they have. We go to homes. They carry one color for one category. It's pleasant. So this is the kind of beige color, the title homes. You always have access to the menu and go all around. That's interesting. When you click, it actually slides down the whole thing a little bit. It's unique tone, and I guess some kind of description a little bit. And the right away immersive experience, that's good. I think they did it really well. They're unique, they're modern. I like the background difference, not white, but beige. And the filters will follow us. Yes, they follow. That's a good idea. That's the modern approach. That's a good touch. So they have filters, and that follows us. That's interesting. So we do have, when you hover over, it gives the zoom in effect. That's quite something unusual. So we have a lot of details to explore. Actually, if we click an image, what's going to happen? That is going to be a project. So we actually enter into the project, I believe. So that can be a little bit confusing. So what they have the full description. I think I would love to see more photography here. See one photography that gives the description, a lot of description, who worked on that project team, a lot of text and some footage. Okay, photography. I think it might be too much text to read, but there might be some kind of important information to explore. I like this unique approach. It's quite too much work, I think, done here. It might be not necessary, to be honest, but nevertheless, it's a beautiful, well done, but not necessary. Then we have beautiful photography. That's good. We have immersive experience. I think composition here could be improved. Full screen, more. We want to see the detail zoomed in closer. We do have a site plan. I think the organization can be done better. Maybe this is deliberate, but I think it doesn't really show this professional look and feel. So there's a space for improvement. I would love to see photography zoomed in closer to have a full experience. So there's space for improvement. Nevertheless, it does the job. We impressed. We see the real projects, and we interested in working with them. Related, there's another project that could be better done. I would like to see more, because you can get lost. You don't want to go into everything. You can get lost. I think the bigger size or real size of the project, maybe 1/2 of the size, could take the space for one related project. Now I feel like it's well done. Here you go. Actually, they have kind of logo here, so they should be putting it up front in the website, so we will have identification and recognition to that. Right now, I'm finding it here, and I'm like, well, is this a logo? So you do need to open up with a logo to make it stand out and recognizable consistently throughout of the whole website. But it's good that they have it. It's actually well done, to be honest. They have this TZ, so T element have Z part. I think it's a unique standout. So they have logo. It's really good. To just have to position that up front to keep it consistently memorable for the whole touch point of the website. Now we come back to the whole menu. I guess it can be a little bit confusing because I can lose myself. Where have I been? I want to go to, we're in homes, but we're not on homes. We're checking project of homes. So we did solve this project, I believe. And we collaborate, innovate. That's interesting. That's quite clever, artistic element. Again, it might not be necessary, but it's effective and beautiful. I don't know what this is, a vision and projects. I'm a little bit confused, to be honest. So if this is homes, where are projects? Here are projects, actually. So I think they could start right away with projects. I think they don't really need to overwhelm with so much information, unnecessary information. But it's beautiful, okay? It's beautiful UI, but UX can suffer here. That's the thing. UI without UX, not always a good idea. And also branding identity, not communicated for the whole process, also can be not a good idea. So apparently, if we go to values, that's interesting. So actually on values, apparently it's going to scroll down. Oh, projects. Okay, so I think there's a confusion a little bit not really well done user experience. Nevertheless, if we get to the values, it does give this effect that we saw in the beginning. If we go to the projects, will we have more projects here? We have one project or something. These are also might be projects. This is actually project. So this is what I'm experiencing here. I'm confused a little bit in our organization and orientation. We do have though this filtering that's quite clever. Single houses. Okay, good. And order of projects could be done better. So they have 3 projects only on single houses. That's not really good image. They should have more. But we'll start from somewhere, I guess. Maybe they have more. Maybe that's all they wanted to feature. But maybe they're a fresh company. I don't know. Nevertheless, that's what I experienced. There's space to improvement, a lot of space for improvement for the user experience. The UI is amazing. They have branding identity, so that's okay. What's the vision? So vision for the homes, I guess. So I think the organization of content have space for improvement. Clear filtering, for example. Clear filtering is quite clever. But they have great work. They have what to show. They just need to make it simple, not to overwhelm us. What else they have? Places. We had this color of places black. I wonder if they're going to repeat black. They did that. That's really clever. So that's a good orientation at what we are. Now, places, I assume, it's not related to homes, of course. But places, everything like commercial probably. So value, I think there could be smooth transition. When I click value, I would love to see smooth transition, and because I'm losing the track where I am. And I feel like they're repeating the content actually in homes and here. So they could just have their values separated from categories of homes and projects. So there's a lot of space to think about the navigation as well. But beautiful UI, I must say. Projects also, it can be again same system. I would love to do better. They more orient on the spaces, places as they call them, rather than homes and public, for example. Beautiful though, beautiful, immersive. And if we enter, it's a beautiful UI, I must say, really well done. Let's just improve UX and we'll be good. There's an interesting way, again, we're repeating the same system of description and everything. It might be again unnecessary. So that's what I witnessed. Sometimes you think it's not necessary to show everything as we addressed in the previous video of 5 other architecture firms. The point is to show the real immersive work that you do, and less word, straight to the point, not to make your customer to lose the track. So I guess that's it. I want to talk about these guys. Let's continue to the next one. And the next architecture company is Following. And the choice is quite interesting. Also a unique approach. Again, I'm choosing something always different, not to repeat. Here, what we see, and I must say also, so far as we evaluated, I must say they did a great job about those that we have addressed. I want to say that they have great architecture. Again, all of them win in the way that they present real projects. I always mention that. Only need to show the real projects already on site and the photography and footage that presenting that really well. That's the best, and full size, so you can show that immersive experience. That's important. But through the process, I'm pointing out where they have space to improve for improvement, from brand identity, interface design, and web development, to demonstrate the professional, trustworthy look and feel that we are after to sustain them consistent with all digital touch points and in service. Now here, it's interesting. It's a unique approach. It's a static of concrete. You can see those menus, and they have this sun always appearing and disappearing. The trouble only is, I like the effect. It's a unique approach. The trouble is that it continues to demonstrate sun over the concrete, and we start not to see those menus. I don't know if that is deliberate, but I think that deliberate decision, if so, is not really user experience friendly. We want to see the menu. We don't want to be confused. So this is important, not to lose the track of those menus. Right away, lesson to pay attention to. Nevertheless, they have amazing, unique approach of architecture. They stand out. There's a quite signature they have here. Architecture, title, pretty clear. Work, about, media. Let's go to work right away. And we go to the work again. Fade in is good effect. Options right away. Simple. Again, I like the simple, not overwhelmed with the text. Title always here. Categories that we have, and 3 columns of projects. Basically, they give the title of it, and we could go into any of those. And they don't really overwhelm us. Also, you can see actually when we hover over the image, they have this massive plus over it as a selection. I think they could improve, make it. They try to do the best actually, because they did this gray color, and because it's almost like kind of acceptable over black and white, but they better be doing the negative effect, as I mentioned before. to always make sure that it will play accordingly. Now, we go down and we see that they don't overwhelm us with their work. We see right away contact us, call to action. I don't know, this space might be a mistaken coding. It's not necessary, it should be stopping here. And they could improve the content here also to make it look more professional. But overall, it's good to see that they have real projects and to experience them. And we'll go into one of them. Let's go to this one, for example, Lone Mountain Ranch House. And when we enter, and it's simple to the point. That's what I like, and that's all we want to know. And they don't overwhelm, by the way. They had not enough. They didn't have that many projects there, so we didn't need a filtering system, a searching system, honestly. But I always recommend to do so. Now here, as we enter one of the projects, I must say it's amazing footage, amazing photography. Well done, beautiful, and I am immersed. Again, this is always a winner, immersed into the experience. What they do have, again, we don't know. For example, here we are lucky a little bit. The media is on the bright background, so it's not really a good idea. So I would recommend always to pay attention to that, but it looks beautiful. It's a great decision to have the full size image. Maybe even it will be a good idea to give arrows, click left, right to review all imagery. Nevertheless, it's amazingly done. I like it. Right away, they win our attention. Short text, title, that's it, photography. If we click, by the way, what's going to happen? They actually, if you click, they will allow you to see the big image of the photo, and you can click even arrows left and right to experience the whole imagery of this page like that. I think it's not necessary, though. I think it's just making the full-size proper image like we saw in the first video that I had, the first firm that we have experienced. They did it well, so they could follow the same principle. It's good to show the plan. I think we would like to see the plan in detail, but yes, we can click it and observe it in more detail. That's good. At least there's this function. But it could be more effective without clicking. It could be more beautiful and in scale. I think they are a little bit out of date. That's great. Again, that demonstrates the wisdom in the marketplace, their expertise that they hold. But they should keep up and update themselves towards the better footage of quality of modern touch, as well as presentation of the plans also could be improved. Nevertheless, again, immersive experience. This is the best when you have the full size. We see all detail. We feel like as if we're there. That's the winner always. So they did a good job, nevertheless. I must say, great work, great experience. Maybe at the end, I would like to see back to the work, but we have that menu here, so that's okay. So that's all about them, I think. Let's see if we can check anything else. We have media, we have about us. Quite interesting, also simple to the point. You can see the date actually, and it's interesting to see. Sometimes, again, I like we saw again in the first one, we had a sneak peek, but here we see the group of people actually chatting and being positive and enjoying their work. This is how they look like. I like it. I think this is a great experience. They have friendly office and collaboration. And that might be actually this concrete we saw in the beginning. This is the concrete can be the beginning from their office. That is also can be impressive. They have unique touch. They have unique brand identity. They have good cultural sense of cultural organization, but then, and that's what also can be compelling to show on your team. Also, good organization, good structure of architecture. They demonstrate their attention and they extend their architecture expertise, structural touch and hierarchy and arrangement, and we see that through the website. That's important to have that consistency, and they respect that. That is really well done. Maybe again, as I mentioned before, the title of the name can be bold and the role can be not, so it can have differentiation there for the instant recognition. But photography is also well done. They sustain the same touch and feel. There's always the same style. That's good. Simple, to the point. That is interesting. Past team members, that is also a good approach. We haven't seen that. Beautifully organized also. 4 columns. Really good point to give a credit and name everyone who worked. I like that. I would keep that if I would be doing architecture also. So let's continue to the next one. Okay, now next firm, again, unique approach, unique presentation. Here we haven't seen yet when we see the logo right in the middle indicating, making us, that's what I meant actually when I was talking about the previous project, this one, right? They should have been putting their logo somewhere up front so we'll recognize that. Unlike they have it there, this logo, this is the logo supposed to be up front, in front. So here we're actually seeing these guys actually doing what I was pointing out. You don't really have to be in the middle, to be honest. It can be in the side. It just must be right away instantly recognizable. Now what we see here, another approach of showing the footage in the background that doesn't really show anything about architecture, but they show this dynamic and motion. And the logo, by the way, have some kind of structural housing and Emma kind of thing. I wonder if they Emma called or R, and that's, see, it's a kind of E or R, so it's actually RMA. So, and it's good to put this title, so RMA, that's the name and that's the branding. Well, that's a good approach, really clear to the point what they stand for, logo in the middle, and the background footage. Now, footage is not really showing any architecture. And right away we have here actually appearing, this could be done really more professional in look and feel. That doesn't look well done, pixelated logo. And the font, the hierarchy is really poorly done and quickly. So I think this is have a lot of space for improvement. Or up front, it doesn't look professional, trustworthy. But it's not that bad. So I'm ignoring that. I'm further going through the footage, and I like the footage, I must say. It's another signature, as we saw before. This is a signature of this brand, of this architecture firm. This kind of cloth is flying. I'm not really sure what that means, but I think that everything else is quite unique. But the cloth flying was a little bit strange for me. It doesn't really necessarily have to be there. Okay, that can be their signature. We're going to see any architecture. We compelled to the degree. It's a unique approach, modern touch, and we have all these options here to go through, and that's what it does. Kind of reveals. I think the color could be a little bit better, improved, and opacity to sustain that contrast between. There you go. Actually, when you hover over the menu, the logo appears, as I mentioned. It could just be staying here, not necessarily in the middle, because it looks like it's about us, but it should be about our customers. So region, I'm not sure where they have this region of selection. Maybe that's how big they are, but I don't think that's necessary. I mean, we're not really willing to click them because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to lose the track. So we have all these options, which I think it can be a little bit overwhelming to choose from. So that's also to have something under consideration. But if we'll scroll through, they do have a lot of effect. It feels like it's a little bit too creative agency touch. Too much things happening. Even though they have beautiful approach, beautiful line, live well, and you can choose these projects, I assume. It's really clever with this line continuation. So we can scroll actually horizontally and choose the project. That's quite a unique approach. I would like to go in, but I'm compelled to continue, so I don't really want to do that yet. And we see some information. We can read more. I don't want to lose the track. That's the problem. As a user, they use footage a lot. That's good, but they don't really show on the footage the architecture yet. We see in some way of demonstration of beautiful landscape or some kind of nature. So we see also this interesting line. I like this idea of continuation of line process for projects, but I think the order might be wrong here in user experience perspective. I would like to see this later maybe, but I'm not sure if you need to do all this. Maybe this is all in vain, but I like this idea. Again, I would like to see better because background is actually confusing me. If I can see and read it clearly, that's going to be a trouble here. I don't see the whole line when the footage change. And when I scroll through further, it does change through. I wonder if I'll click land, it'll go back and it fades in, fades out. So we continue for the website. When we scroll, we go for all these stages. And it also might be not necessary. Okay, they talk about land, architecture, interior, strategic management. That makes sense. These are the phases that they go for. But I feel like I'm losing the track and attention. I think so many things are happening and there's not really a strong contrast between elements that I'm overwhelmed with the whole thing and I want to check everything, but I'm like, I don't know what should I be paying attention to. So be careful with that, not to overwhelm. So they continue the line into these categories. It's beautiful UI, I must say, but UX again might be suffering here. They do have branding also. They have these categories to go deeper into. Follow us, join us, watch films, read more. I would like to go, but I feel like I'm going to get lost. So I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but nevertheless, it's really powerful. UI, but I don't see any architecture yet. I think that's the trouble. I did saw the projects up front here, and I would actually go right away. Maybe it's okay. Me as a potential customer would like to check these ones, and let's go into one of them. Let's say Great Ocean Road Residence. When I go into that, it's good effect fade in, fade out, and we see the title, and I think the image should be loading. Yeah, and we always experience the same problem with background image and footage and the text on top. So this is always have to be addressed. I barely can see view projects, barely can see arrows. Customer might lose track. And this is not what we want them to have. We want them to have seamless experience and get lost into the what we want them to see, what they are seeking, rather than get lost in the information of overwhelming. So anyways, beautiful modern approach. I think UI is powerful. UX have a trouble. So we can click left, right, and I would be assuming actually that we'll be clicking and checking the photography, but actually we're shifting between projects. But then, well, that still makes sense. But there should be kind of indication of what's going to happen when I'm going to click arrow. But view project, so that will be observing this project, I guess. So that might be a little bit UX trouble in orientation navigation, but it's still well done. It's beautiful photography. It's real project. It's clear. It might be just overwhelming. I can lose myself in all this beautiful footage. This is something unique that they have. They show footage of their architecture. That is unique approach. That is impressive, actually. We haven't seen that yet, to show project on the footage. They have beautiful presentation, I would say. They show the process, they give description, beautifully done. The representative image and the title. Just readability must be improved from the coding and UI perspective. Good background, pleasant brown background to read, not white, not black. Footage could be bigger maybe, but well done presentation. The beautiful image on the really well composed of white drawing on the brown background. That's the unique element that they have. And amazing, here you go. Now we see the real footage in the full scale. That's what we want to see. And have this immersive, compelling experience. Well done. We maybe would like to see more of the better composition of the footage, maybe, and more details of what was created in respect to the bigger scale, the interior, full exterior, but we so far see the details of it. It's still acceptable, but we would like to see bigger size. But it's good. It's good. We see the whole thing, and that's compelling, and they continue with the footage. Maybe it will be good to actually control the footage. Maybe not. It doesn't really matter. But we see the whole thing, and that's all we want to know. We want to be impressed and get in touch. That's really interesting. This was the first time we see someone who's doing the upfront contact call to action. That's quite good. And previous project, next project, this is a clever idea, good motion. There's still space for improvement for more professional look and feel in those elements, responsiveness and so on, but it's okay. Related projects also can be bigger in order to identify, but it's also acceptable. So I think this is relatively well done. I think that's, again, I'm getting lost working, so home, portfolio, contemporary. I'm lost what to choose. For example, I want to go back to the home. I guess I will click the logo, but then experience land these things. I will not be checking everything. I'll go to portfolio. And I think if I want to check all work, if I'll go to portfolio, let's see what's going to happen. Will it take back to the home page or not? It's quite loading slow, actually, I must say. So yeah, that's quite slow. Some actually websites will be slow enough in entering. But yeah, I guess this is where we're going to leave it. Let's continue to the next architecture then. Unfortunately, we cannot really experience the portfolio for the slow loading, but maybe we can point out that these images can actually, again, fit into the full size to make it look professionally, as I mentioned in the first video. And that will make them look well. Now, let's continue to the next one. And the last one, and which I think is very impressive right away. What we see here is the full size. Again, we kind of interesting. We see the same framing as we saw with the first architecture frame that we evaluated in the previous video. Beautiful white frame of photography in a full size of visual. That is impressive right away. Right away showing the work is always the powerful thing to do. Now also we see right away James Merrell Architects. Again, it's a name and surname. It's good, I think, though, that they have this play. When you hover over the logo, you can see it becomes this three bricks on each other as the building of the storage. And that's what they made out of their logo as a brand identity. And that's quite a clever approach, I must say. So you can actually identify them by this element, and they made it out of their name and architects. It's the architects, and actually you put architects as the foundation. That's quite interesting. So what we see here, and actually I must say, as we continue further with you, I must say everyone that we explored so far, they did great, unusual, unique way of presenting themselves and great architecture. And again, I'm saying some of them need more space to improve, some not, and it's totally okay. It's not that bad. So here we see, and we'll be going back again to the previous in a second, probably loaded there already. So what do you see here? Amazing, immersive, right away, compelling experience. Interesting that they show work right away up front, and that is really effective. So we cannot really scroll anywhere here. This is all we have, and I think it's quite a good idea. So we always see it's always sliding. It keep us just exploring. In fact, that might be all you need as a customer, just to see this sliding photography and say, yes, I'm impressed. I saw different interior design. I saw different exterior, and I like it. Well done footage again. Well done photography, and up to date, modern. They updated. They stand out in their branding and positioning and their style. So they win right away. Actually, we just need to contact with them. To be honest, this is what I mean by you don't really need to do a lot of work. And unnecessary work unless you really want it for yourself. But this is enough. That's all. You can actually have contact us here, and they can do well. Nevertheless, we do have more than that, and that makes sense. So when we enter menu, it's also a unique way of presenting menu here. We haven't seen that yet. From the bottom, also clever, clean. And we can enter those. We can enter into the social media. Client login. This is interesting. I will not be able to check it, but apparently client have an entrance to their project, and it's quite interesting. I think that's a clever thing. I would use that if I would be doing for someone architecture website. I will use everything that we have learned with you into one. This is the research basically that it can be used really well to build a great architecture website and use all benefits that everyone had, and not to repeat all mistakes that we pointed out. Connect. With Connect, they actually have just right away. We can go anywhere, just connect right here. That's really good and clean. Firm will have, when we click Firm, we go to you see even loading is their logo. With Firm, they have this photo, and they have kind of description of philosophy. Quite shortly, you can read more if you want to. Studio. And that's also loading a little bit. And the people, you actually can read every person there, I believe, enter deeper. But I think this is also not necessary. As I mentioned before, what if people come and go? What if person actually leaves? Then you'll remove the information, or you're going to keep it. And what's the point? So it depends. It's always have a negative and positive effect. Anyways, also press in the word and career. I will not go deeper. Let's go to the projects more. And this can be a little bit confusing, as I would say. Like it looks like a little bit not really aesthetically pleasing. You have all these options that we have from the firm, and now we have this disarray a little bit to the degree. So there's still space always to improve in respect to the user experience and composition in order to demonstrate your expertise as an architect extended into the digital touch point. Also, I would say background selection photography could have stronger, maybe black overlay opacity, so we can read text better. That could be better selection for a user to read with ease. Now, journal, we're just going to go to the projects here right away. It's loading. It's beautiful, pleasant. This is also unique now. We usually have some kind of distancing between projects and images, but these guys have shoulder to shoulder and column to column, so to say, everything. And it's really quickly. It's not fade in, fade out. You just hover over. It gives you a black background and a title, and it's really correctly done. Black background, so easy to read the title always without any dependence on the background photography that you cannot predict. So really quick, really well. I find it powerful. There could be better selection of choice of photography in order to make it more composition-wise better, but it's great anyways. Really great work. Right away, it's enough for me to see just with one photography, really good selection and variety that you see. Also the interior design, the pool, the building, the night mode of kind of tropical mode. Really well done. I think that's all you need to know. And again, they don't overwhelm you with a lot of work. They don't even need searching or filtering, because that's all they show to you. Later, if they'll want to show more, they might need this filtering and searching. So if we're actually going to enter one of those projects, I would like to go to this house interior design. So we enter in. You can view some article. Apparently, again, this could be improved because it's white. I don't know what this arrow, probably previous projects. That's really good. So this indicator, when you hover over and you see the text, this is a clever idea. So it's previous project you can go into, and left, right, next image. That is a good indicator. That's a clever approach. Maybe arrows could be bigger to indicate, to notice them, and maybe some kind of differentiation in the background to create a contrast could be improvement there. But overall, it's a really good idea. When you hover over, this is a unique thing. next image. So I know what's going to happen, which we experienced in the previous page. Remember, in the previous company, we experienced not understanding. By the way, this is actually loaded as we were speaking. Let me go back, because we're not clear about those arrows. So they could actually learn from this competitor and use this approach, next image, and use that here, because I was confused. I don't want to click. So actually when I click, it will take me to the next project. Apparently going down will allow me to review the project. So keep these things in mind. And remember, I was trying to press portfolio. It was stuck. Now when I click, let's address this a little bit, going backwards. What I wanted to say also, that they have right away, when you go to portfolio, now we're kind of into categories. I think this is also unnecessary. I feel like it's really creative agency made to the degree. It's too much things are happening, and I'm getting lost as a customer. So I would recommend not to do that. Keep everything in one place. Give the filtering system if you have so many things in one place, and you make sure that the customer is not getting lost and have a seamless experience. That's my recommendation for these guys. But they have a great job whatsoever. They have unique approach and signature. We can recognize them, and we can see more stuff to explore. So that's quite good. Space to improvement for user experience. Now we continue to the previous one, to the last one that we stopped. So I want to recommend that this is a good idea. So we click. It's beautiful. You can see the image next, but it's a trouble right away. You see, if it's not full image, we don't see the arrow. So arrow should be black or something, or the image should always fill in the width and to make sure that it would fit. Or if you have this kind of size, maybe we could fit in 2 images like this one and the previous one. See, I can't find arrow. That's the trouble. So these 2 images could be on one, so to make sure that it would fit in the full size. So there's a trouble. You see, every website have a negative and positive side that we can learn or that we can improve. Nevertheless, this is impressive photo. If we can scroll through, can we scroll through? No, we actually can go to the next project. So that's all we actually can experience of the project. They didn't show the process. They didn't give you text. It's all about photography. And that's what I mean. That's maybe you don't need to do too much work. Might be enough for you to impress. But I think the user experience could also improve with these guys as well. I think that's all we have to present here. I still like this idea of it's memorable, recognizable. It could be better though, but I've always there's space for improvement. But I like this. It does fulfill the purpose of logo and brand identity. We recognize them by name, and if you already see all these free blocks on each other. So it's impressive. What I want to say, let's go back to all of them. So in order to conclude, I want to say that all of them, of course, did a great job. And which one I would need, if I would need to choose, I would go probably with this first one. And I'm not sure this one and this I would probably leave for later. And these guys have good stuff, but still maybe outdated in respect to my value. I would go with the first one and last one if I want to go. I think they did a best job because they impressed right away. Maybe even this one, James, will have the best because they right away impress me and compel me to experience right away in front. And I just want to reach out right away. I really think you don't need to do too much job for architecture sometimes. And you can just impress and get people to contact you. So I would say this is number 1. This is number 2 probably. And number 3, I would say number 3, the rest of them. Maybe even these 2, number 3. And the last one will be RMA, just because it's so overwhelming and hard to orient. I would love to see more projects, but I'm getting lost and too much process of how it's done and footage. I'm not really getting this immersive experience of seeing the real projects so far. But anyways, that's the last one in respect to my evaluation. Nevertheless, all of them did a great job, and I wanted to point out that all of them have great stuff to offer, great stuff to learn, and great things for themselves to actually space that they have for themselves to improve. Guys, that's all I want to say. That's all I want to present. I enjoy presenting this set and previous set. Again, as I mentioned, always in the end, you can find me on Behance, or you can find me on YouTube. I'm evaluating these things. We evaluated with the architecture field from brand and design perspective, experiencing their websites. And we have 2 videos. Check the previous one, check this one, 5 and 510. I think we presented a great evaluation of all of them. And what happens is that we have a lot of stuff to collect in order to use to some kind of architecture firm, as well as we see what not to do as a mistake. So we'll learn a lot from this, I think. I hope this was valuable and helpful, guys. Let's continue. We'll continue evaluating this series, brand and design evaluation series, as well as on my YouTube. I have a new series that are showing my work, where I'm breaking down the same way, but my work that I do. So feel free to check it out. And I'm delivering this interesting expertise in three areas, which is brand identity, interface design, and web development. And I'm doing that already for 8 years, and as a bridge between business goals and user needs for my customers. Stay well, guys, and chat to you later. Continue.